Hello class, welcome to our Writing Logically, Thinking Critically video review of A Study in Scarlet to His Coy Mistress, Dulce et Decorum Est, right? The latter two are poems. The first is an excerpt from uh, a conversation between Sherlock Holmes and his trusted assistant, Dr. Watson. What's interesting about all three of these examples is we can apply the theory of inductive reasoning. You take facts, right? Things that you can prove to support your inference, just like you do when you're writing about literature. The facts are the aspects or elements of plot, character, the words, right? The style, the diction, the aspects of setting, the point of view, right? All the elements of fiction are the facts that you use to support your inference when you're writing about literature. So Sherlock Holmes uses facts to determine that the man had been a sergeant in the Marines. The blue anchor tattoo, the military carriage, the side whiskers, the way in which he held his head and swung his cane. Right? A steady, respectable, middle-aged man, too, on the face of him. All facts which led me to believe that he had been a sergeant. So, again, as we've been focusing on with logos, you got to have facts to support those inferences, right? Premises to support those conclusions, okay? So as we're moving forward in the reading, if we kind of move up to page 160, right, you'll notice that we have the ideas of truth, validity, and soundness. Truth means that each of the claims or facts or sentences, right, in the argument are true. They can be verified. So are you reasoning with facts? If so, it's true. Is the structure of your argument logical? If so, you have validity. Now, remember, people can have arguments that are persuasive and are structured in a valid form, but they're not based on facts, right? The fallacies. So it's not a logical argument. It's not a sound argument. To have soundness, you need to have truth and validity. So truth plus validity equals soundness. Are the statements true? Can you verify them? Is the structure of the argument logical? When Lady Macbeth says, "When you durst do it, then you were a man, and you would be so much more the man. When you said you were going to kill him, I thought you were a man. Now that you're not going to do it, I don't think you're a man, and I can't trust you." Well, that would work if he actually said he was going to kill Duncan. But remember, Macbeth never said it. So her straw man argument is persuasive if he did say it, because then she's right. He said he was going to do something, and now he's not going to do it. He never said he was going to do it. So although her argument is persuasive and valid, right, it's not sound because her premises are not true. Okay? So for it to be acceptable, right, the structure has to be valid, the premises have to be true, and then you have soundness. So think about it. With a lot of fallacies, they might structurally be persuasive, but the premises or the statements that support the conclusion are not factual. Therefore, they are not sound or logical arguments. Think about guilt by association on 162. Yeah, the structure might be valid. Members of the mafia often dine there. The neighbor dines there. Therefore, the neighbor is a member of the mafia. Structurally, that might work. But, right, there's no factual evidence to support that up. So, as it says, most of us would reject the argument, but this pattern of reasoning, erroneous as it is fairly common on page 162. And then you have numerous examples in the book of arguments that might have premises that are true, but the structure is invalid, so they're not sound. And we've already talked about how the fallacies might have a valid structure, but their premises are not true. So you have to have both, right? Um, Moving forward, right? We look at hypothetical arguments and necessary conditions. Again, a lot of these are based on assumptions rather than facts. So be careful with these hypothetical arguments because you need to have facts to support the inferences. And a perfect example of a hypothetical argument right here on page 172 as I'm moving through the reading, right, leads us to the poem to his coy mistress. Now, the poem is 3 stanzas. You could break this down as the exercise 7G says, reduce the following poem to a hypothetical argument consisting of 2 premises and a conclusion. Had we but whirled enough in time, this coyness lady were no crime. Coyness is when someone is either acting shy or pretending to be shy, but it's almost like not a natural shyness. So what he's saying, right, in the first stanza is if we had enough time, I'd wait forever. Now, obviously, she's being coy about a romantic engagement, a rendezvous, if you would. People have been trying to persuade people to sleep with them for centuries, forever. Here's yet another example. So he calls her coy, right? And so what he's essentially suggesting is that she's only pretending to be shy to act like a lady. This poem is ripe for gender criticism, perhaps from a Marxist or a psychological or a cultural or a historical perspective, right? And you can read, he says, all the things they do in stanza 1 if they had forever. He ends it, right? For lady, you deserve this state, nor would I love at lower rate. You deserve it. I'd wait forever. I'd praise your eyes, right, for 100 years, a century, and then an age for every part, and the last age should show your heart. It's 1,000 years, right? If we had forever, I'd wait forever and I'd love you forever. Stanza 1, premise 1. Stanza 2, premise 2. But at my back I always hear time's winged chariot hurrying near. We don't have forever. Stanza 2 is full of all sorts of symbolism and imagery about the frailty of human life, the idea of ashes to ashes, dust to dust, right? And your quaint honor turned to dust, and into ashes all my lust. So again, stanza 1, if we had forever, I'd wait forever. Stanza 2, but we don't have forever, and we'll just get uglier as we get older, and our lust, right, will turn to ashes. Sorry about that. So now the question is, what should they do? Conclusion, stanza 3, right? I mean, now, pay attention to how many times the poet, right, employs the speaker to use the word now. Now, therefore, while thy youthful youth sits on thy skin like morning dew, and while thy willing soul transpires at every pore with instant fires, now let us sport while we may, and now, like amorous birds of prey, rather at once our time devour than languish in his slow chapped power, right? Rather than wait, right? He says he's about time. Thus, though we cannot make our son stand still, yet we will make him run. You ever heard the expression, time flies when you're having fun? He's saying rather than wait, let's have fun and let's speed time up.